So technically, security is a big world. OS security, application security, database security, network securities, IPS, IDS, firewalls, and SSO. Hundreds of things is there in the security world. But the concept we discussed in my last class was mainly about the IAM. That's called identity and the access management. And the good thing is, guys, in my last class, I have talked a lot about how to create policies. Okay, and I also explain you the use of resource, ARN, actions, okay, and plus how to use some kind of custom policies and how we can, create our own custom policy to secure our thing from respective identity or from the respective users. And I also talk about the role. But those are the guys, the core concept on daily basis in the cloud computing we have to use. So maybe you guys might not able to link some of the part, but don't worry. There will be lots of services come up, and one service will want to communicate with other services, and there you will require roles and some other concept. Okay, so we have talked about a ton about IAM, but there might be some more thing in the IAM. So in my upcoming classes, we'll talk about some more functionality of the IAM. But technically, tons of core concept of IAM we have discussed in my last class. Okay, today, guys, I would like to pick a very new topic, very new service of AWS that is very much based on a platform. So technically, it is come into the category of platform as a service. So I'm talking about, guys, there's one service in AWS called EB, that's called Elastic Beanstalk. So very interesting service, and this is the kind of services we need from the cloud computing, guys. Okay, so till date, guys, we have talked about a network as a service, block storage as a service, security and firewall as a service, right? And some other database as a service, right? Infrastructure as a service. Okay, but if you combine all those services together or integrate all those services together to provide one single click kind of setup for your user or the developers, I can say, then the use of platform as a service come in play. Okay, so what is PaaS? I will explain, guys, in very detail today. Okay, and PaaS is a, guys, general concept. There's a lot of products and services available in the market who will give this kind of facility. But if you talk about the AWS perspective, Elastic Beanstalk is the one who help you. Okay, so by chance, guys, we are into the CSA training, and this tool is normally used by developers. So if you go to AWS developer track, and I think most of the guys here are in both the track. So there we'll talk normally Elastic Beanstalk in very detail. but my plan is I don't want to invest too time in the same topic. So here I am taking this topic in very much detail. So either you are in this training, either you are AWS developer training, both the guys will be benefited with this class. Okay, so almost everything that you need to know about Elastic Beanstalk we will discuss. But before, guys, we will discuss, let's first explain you the challenges, because whenever new service come up, always they come up with some kind of challenges we already have, or maybe some kind of use cases we are looking for. So if Elastic Beanstalk is there, so let me first explain you why we need platform as a service. Okay, guys, by chance we change your time just for today. I try my best to at least have the class today, which for me is very harder to come to my workplace so that I can have your class. I try my best, and just I have reached, but I know maybe for you guys it's harder for you to schedule because suddenly we change the time for just for today. But I'll try my best to come as soon as I possible. So so let's continue, guys. Let's talk about platform as a service. So you can think in this way. If you guys think as a developer perspective, then you can properly analyze the requirement of platform as a service concept. Okay, so let's think you are a developer. Okay, or maybe you belong to some QA team, quality assurance team. Okay, who will test your application. Okay, so just think in this way, that you are either the developer who write the code or who write the app for us. And after app has been written, code and software has been created, and then some QA team or testing teams gonna test your code or maybe the application. Okay, so if you think about their perspective, okay, so let's say the developer of your company has created the app, let's say in one language, maybe Java, Ruby, .NET, or PHP. So they create this web application over here. And guys, here I'm just talking and focusing purely on the web application. There might be mobile application, but right now just to focus that this application is purely on the web. Because the way we deploy or run or test the mobile app, maybe we have different way and approach. Okay, so mostly in applications, when I use this word application, no, mostly it means web app. Why I'm saying this, because the services that we are going to use is purely help you to run the web app or the web app or the websites. So let's say we create a website or web app in a PHP language. Now, after developer create this code, this app, what they need? Obviously, they need one operating system. Okay, and on the top of this operating system, they need some PHP runtime or PHP interpreter to be installed, or maybe Java, depend which language they have done. Okay, and obviously because language to language the thing vary, so maybe developer has written the code in PHP 5.6 language version or PHP 7.1 version, right? So so they need that particular version of the PHP interpreter, or maybe sometime known as runtime, to be installed on the top of this OS. Okay, and then only my developer can go and copy the code. Okay, and after they copy the code, they run and deploy the code or execute the code. But one more thing here, very small thing, but one more small thing, developers should know that where to copy. Because this PHP is just a program, and because this PHP is going to create a web app for you. So normally we can run the PHP code with the PHP interpreter or runtime. Okay, but if you want to deploy a code as a web application, you need a web server. So between the PHP and the OS, you need one more component, one more service called web server. It may be IIS, it may be Nginx, or maybe you guys might know comfortable with Apache web server. So we also want on the top of OS, we have Apache server, and the top of Apache web server, or maybe behind the Apache web server, they are connecting with the PHP. Okay, so that's what we need. Okay, and then if the developer has created the code, the developer should know where to copy the code, because you guys know, in if you talk about Apache web server, the Apache web server by default read the code from this folder. This is called document root. So technically, if developer want to run the code, they have to first install the operating system. Then they configure the Apache web server after installing the software. Then they store PHP, their respective version. Then they get the code from GitHub or somewhere and copy in this location. After developer do this, okay, then your code run, and this Apache web server, the OS has some IP address. So this is the URL they find. Then developer will use this URL to see how their website look and feel, and their respective facility. But some more things that they need, right? If you talk about a little bit more in detail. So the only OS doesn't help you. We also need RAM, CPU, and hard disk. Means I'm talking about networking and physical resources. We also need, because obviously without the physical resources, none of the OS will run. Okay. And it's all depend, guys. Maybe for the developer, maybe for the developer, hosting the website on one single OS might be enough. But normally, whenever you guys you launch your website in your production system, okay, because normally your main client from the internet, they will always come to your production system, or I can say the production server. And normally in the production server, guys, we always try to put multiple computers. Because you guys know, because of traffic, and we always try to put some load balancer here who manage my traffic. Okay, so that's what we always need. Okay, so normally in the production world, or in the production system, by chance this is also known as environment. Okay, so company has a production environment, and they have one load balancer or maybe multiple load balancers and multiple backend web server they put to balance the load. So you guys know the functionality of load balancer, but we also need. Okay, but there's some component in the development. Anybody who are working in the development, so if you want your applications to work in a load balance way, okay, means one, this is IP1, IP2, my application also running here, my application also running here, and my load balancer balance the load. Okay, so till date, guys, we have tested some static application. That's very much fine. But if you go for dynamic application, and we have some kind of cache layer or one niche kind of layer, so what is what I'm talking about. So when we go and talk some more exclusive concepts in the developer track, you come to know what I'm talking about. But there's a lot of things we have to add in all the operating system, right, in all the web server, that these systems also communicate to each other behind the scene. Okay, so it is not the duty of the Apache server, or not the your operating system. Let's say this operating system come from EC2 instance. Your code has some extra functionality. They will keep on syncing for something, for session management, for cache management. So what I'm talking about, it is again not the important point today. We will discuss in upcoming class, but they have to sync. Okay, so that is a reason. That is a reason. Developer might have created the code, and they might have tested the code in the one single OS, or maybe they might try to test the code in multiple OS. But mostly, and sometime, our testing team will try to create an actual environment, whatever the environment we have in the production system. So they try to put one load balancer. Okay, and behind the load balancer, they launch multiple EC2 instance, and they put the same PHP code after config web server and installing the PHP. So they try to create same kind of environment, whatever environment we have in the production. Not exactly, because in the production environment we invest a lot in the terms of in all the possible way. But we try to create as much as similar environment of the production. So sometime it is known as pre-production environment, and maybe sometime it is known as staging environment. And intention is we have to create a same kind of environment, called we have to simulate the environment of the production. So that, because for the company, guys, before they send the code to the production environment, and a client will access their code, access their code. This is the guys, the point of the reputation of the company, right? Because a small issue in the code, maybe any kind of issues may create some security vulnerability, and maybe site might not work, or maybe some of the feature might not work. Okay, so my testing team, my QA team, quality assurance team, they they always test the code in pre-post or staging kind of environment. Environment means, again, they might put one same kind of load balancer. Maybe this load balancer will be very expensive. This may be cheap in the terms of facilities and the cost also. But they try to create the same environment. They try to launch multiple instances behind the scene, or plus plus they try to create multiple clients. Okay, obviously this client won't be the real, but they try to simulate the client also, so it feel like that the real client is sending the request. So there's a lot of tool available in the market for this. Like, for example, very simple tool who test our server, or who check the benchmark of our server. So if you guys like in Apache web server, there's a tool called AB testing tool. So it's just one command for testing the benchmark of your server. So like this, guys, there are a lot of tool available for testing. So we check how much load my system or app website can do. Multiple load, parallel load, and tons of regress testing. So it's a big world all together. Okay, so but technically what I'm trying to tell you guys here is okay, the final point here is in very simple way. If I summarize this point till here. So developer is the one who write the code, or maybe after write the code they try to run the code, or maybe try to test some basic thing. Okay, and after that everything now is good. As a code perspective, logic perspective, everything is working good. They send the code to a QAT. Means there's a team, quality assurance team, and they will normally do a testing. And for testing they create a environment, sometime also known as testing environment. Testing environment. Okay, and here they try to create a staging or pre-prod kind of environment, production kind of environment, so that they can simulate the same kind of setup, so that before they reach to my main client, my production environment, okay, or reach to a main client, everything has been properly tested. So hundreds of things is there, guys. Hundreds of again is depend upon language to language. Also, every language has different way to test the thing. Okay, but typically, again, company to company, team to team, this word or these steps might change. Okay, but typically we start our journey from here. Developer write the code go here, they check the thing, they will certified. Now code is good, is ready to go for the production. My code will reach to production environment, and finally client will see the latest and the updated code. Okay, so guys, by chance we are not in the DevOps training, or I'm saying not DevOps, might know the right word here. It's not the CI/CD training. Okay, but whenever guys you go to Jenkins kind of training, these kind of concept from very basics to very advanced, we discuss in CI/CD training or Jenkins training, or maybe some kind of DevOps training. Okay, but something like this. So technically, there's if you talk about the company, there's a three different kind of environment dev, test, or maybe QAT, and the production. Okay, so here important thing here is okay, production is the environment, okay, where we already have a load balancer. We already has a multiple backend web server running. And the good thing is we already also have one more guy here. It's called auto scaling group. What is this? You guys know? They keep on checking the load of these guys, and whenever sudden load come up, they will scale these guys up. Okay, means scale out. I say up is the wrong word. I don't know why a lot of guys use. So they scale out, launch one more system behind the scene. You guys know this concept. So it is this startup is normally work and managed by some IT guys or cloud engineers or admins to set up this part. Okay, but the challenge here is okay, challenge in this environment, dev and the testing environment. Okay, here we have a challenge. And what challenge we have? Developers say, or let's think about this guy. The testing guys say, okay, the developer has write the code. My duty is to test the thing. Okay, and for testing, and my if I want to do a great testing, everything is work great in the production environment. So I have to set up the same environment like auto scaling group or load balancer, a lot of servers run behind the scene. Or maybe my application require a database, so I have to launch one more database here. I put my IP or connection string to database so that they will they will work properly. Maybe some firewall we have to set up, security group we have to set up. Hundreds of things guys also there, message queues and notification services and reporting services. It's a big world if you talk about one single application. So in the person guys is working from last couple of days and month. Everything is tested multiple times with tuned and it is working very accurately. But But let's say initially when the company start, that developer has created a website, very simple website web app, and this website web app, guys, we put in the production environment, and we have, after changing multiple thing, after changes multiple time, my website become very matured. Now it's working properly here in the production. But companies say this is an older website. Let's say normally they give the version. Let's say they give the version 1. Okay, now we have to come with some no more new functionalities. Okay, so developer and the team will start writing the code, not the new website. So they keep on enhancing the look and feel, feature, UI, UX, some extra feature capabilities, and they done lots of code or enhance this website. And let's say they come up with a new code and they say this is version 2. Okay. Now, point here is this code is done, and maybe developer has tested this code in their local laptop because now developer has their own personal laptops, or maybe they have their own environment in somewhere, and they test it. Okay, but it is now very critical. Okay, critical to put this code in the production environment because there might possibility same code might not work there, and it's again the point of the reputation of the company and the business of the company also. So this developer guys send this code to the testing team, and what they do and what they want, they have to test this code in the same environment. Now here, guys, from last couple of classes, it take a lot of time to configure auto scaling group, load balancer, and these guys, and put the code, install the PHP, install the web server, set up the databases, connect everything. So lots of time, guys, is consumed, plus a lot of knowledge also we require. So they say we are good in testing. Okay, we know Selenium, we know other tool for testing, unit testing and integration testing, and XY, TDD, BDD, tons of things there in testing world. So we know everything, but we might not go in the admin part of cloud. Okay, so somehow whatever environment we have in the production, not exactly, but somehow all this component can be created for us. Okay, so what we need finally, we need this entire box, right, where we have issued instances, load balancer, auto scaling group, firewall, databases, everything in just in one click created for us. Okay, what we will do, we will just put our code, that's all, nothing else. We just put our code, or I can say upload the code in this environment, even though this box is so intelligent that this box know where to copy the code, even though I don't require to know that I have to copy the code in this folder. So I don't have to provide this RAM and CPU, none of OS. I don't have to know which AMI to use, PHP to install, Apache server to install, right? ENI, API, EIP, everything is been in one click is been configured and launched for us. Okay, and we have to just go and put the code, or we have to just go and run the code, and we don't have to worry about how this environment has been created. Okay, so technically, if you talk about this box, so this box is the one who is providing you a service as a service. And what they're providing you, that providing you and say, just take your code and run there, or take the code or deploy there, or run there, or execute there. Okay, so technically this box is providing a platform for our testing guys, and not for testing guys. Okay, this can be used by developer also. So developers say, I don't want to use my laptop. So we just go, developers say, I don't want to also learn AWS also. Just go there and upload the code. Okay, and when upload the code, or before upload the code, I say this platform is already created. Now it is, now developer can choose their application is Java, Ruby, .NET, which application they have or which version they want to use. So all the platform of almost all the major available languages for the web app, right? I told you guys the service where what I'm talking about. And whenever you heard this term platform as a service, the market or in the cloud perspective, they always deal with the web application, never with the mobile application normally, or maybe any desktop-based application. So 99.9%, I say 100%, I can say. Okay, if you go to any of their products also, for example, one of the great product in the market for a platform as a service that nowadays a lot of companies use, that's called private cloud product, and that's called OpenShift. is one of the great product I always suggest to learn this kind of tool also. All right. So this is also one platform service. Only difference is in AWS a public cloud. By this product, we can create our own personal private cloud. But again, the same setup there. One click, the entire setup is done in your private cloud or in a private laptop. And we, as a developer or the testing guys, we have to just go and run the code. But nowadays, guys, the same because this platform now has become so mature, one clickable. Nowadays, these guys, the person guys, also leveraging this power. Now they say, I don't want to set up the entire environment. So if any company comes with a new application, new website, or new idea, okay, they say we'll just go to platform as a service concept in our cloud, whether public or private. We just click one launch, and everything has been created. Only thing is, we have to just get the code from somewhere, obviously from the developer or this team, and we upload the code there. So finally, my client need a URL, they will give the URL to us, and this URL we provide. So rather than we focus on the config databases or connecting these guys or load balancers and auto scaling groups and other things, just focus in other area to improve our company business. Okay, so technically, platform guys is just a term. So if anybody, if you talk a very simple example of platform service, not so much useful, very simple example. That is also one of the good example of platform as service. So guys, you guys might know W3 School is a website. Again, pure learning website is good website. So in this website, guys, if you want to learn Java or maybe JavaScript or PHP, here they give you one option. Try it yourself. And what you have to do is just copy and upload a code here. Okay, upload a code and click. For example, I'm changing my header here and say Linux word. You write a code in PHP or HTML, click, it's changed. Okay. So again, this is one of the simplest example of platform as service. Okay. I don't have to worry about where server launch, where IP come from, who is managing the network. I am a developer. I just put the code here, upload the code here, run the code, and see and test my code. I don't have to worry about, because I'm a developer. Just think like a developer. Your main time where you want to invest is on the logics of the code and improving the code rather than on the underlying layer. So this entire underlying layer, load balancer, all those things are known as infrastructure. So the entire infrastructure as a service. Okay, entire infrastructure as a service is being now hidden out. Somebody launch for you. Either you hire some technical guys who will launch for you, or here AWS launch this infrastructure as a service, and they hide everything. I can say they abstract. Hide means abstract everything, and they say just by abstraction we create one more extra layer, and you just put the code here, and I will run the code for you. And obviously, guys, because this is a website always need a URL, so I will finally give the URL to you. And how I'm running everything is hidden out and in abstract. I will give the URL. I provide the URL to you. You want to give to client, if you're in a production world or testing world or development world, who gonna use the URL, that would be your choice. Okay. So this abstraction of infrastructure layer means what is there inside, we don't know. So this is also the one of the definition of platform as a service. So entire VPC, EC2 instance, EBS, ELB, RDS, everything has been abstracted inside one box. I can say everything is automated by one program, and that program concept is known as platform as a service. But guys, this is a very simple concept, or not simple, very commonly used concept. Okay, if you want to use platform as a service, so AWS has one service available that's called Elastic Beanstalk, known as EB. Technically, it's called Elastic Beanstalk, but the short form is not EBS, because EBS already has a meaning in AWS called Elastic Block Storage or Store. So in the short form, guys, we always use EB. EB means Elastic Beanstalk. So EB is, guys, one service in the AWS that will give you platform as a service facility. Okay, and guys, when you go for platform as service, okay, this is a very commonly used term that's called environment. Okay, so we always first create an environment for the developer, if the developer want to use this, or testing guys or person guys. So dev, test, and prod, this very commonly used term in the market, that's called dev environment, test environment, and the person environment. So we are not in the purely in the CI/CD or then Jenkins kind of training. We'll discuss this concept in very detail. A lot of pipelines we create, a lot of things we automated from here and there. This is called end to end. Okay, but this some I just want to give you some basic idea, so that in Beanstalk, if you heard this term uh, environment, you at least know what is the meaning of this. Okay, so let's say my developer gonna use Beanstalk, and they create an environment, and they say I'm a dev environment, or whatever name they want to put. And what are the code they have, or version 1, version 2, they upload the code, and after upload the code, they will run for you, and finally give the URL, and this URL will be tested by developer. Okay, and they'll be happy. They will send the notification to this team. They will do the same thing. They will do other testing, and like this is keep on going. And finally, my code reached to production. Okay, so it is like a pipeline. Dev, take QA, and production. Pipeline is not managed by actually actually the platform as service, right? By chance, OpenShift has a one great way. There's a different point, but Elastic, Beanstalk don't have. So this their duty is to just give platform as service. But if you go to some other services like code deploy and other services, we'll talk about my developer track. So a lot of interesting pipelines you will create, or maybe by Jenkins. So what I mean by this, I don't want to discuss further, so that you guys won't be confused. But let's focus only on one service. Okay, that is a Elastic Beanstalk. So guys, the summary is nothing, just one click, entire infrastructure has been launched. But the use case is the infrastructure is launched only for only for providing you the platform. And platform is where you have the code written in some language, and that code is going to create a web app for you. That's the only intention here. Okay, and they only support web app. That's the only service type I can say they have a support. One more service type they have a support. That's called if you guys know, a long running process of the web app. Okay, so that is a different point. So we are not into the data analytics part. So we can see there's a lot of long running services we have. Okay, but there are two main support they have. But intention is, if you go for Elastic Beanstalk, here we can set up a web app. Okay, or launch the web app. Okay, or if you have a Java code, you upload the data, you upload your code. Behind the scene, they compile your code, and they will run for you. So when you provide the code, and somebody compile and deploy the code for you, that is also known as build. So they will build the code for you, so you don't have to worry about. Okay, so let's guys go and use Beanstalk. Is pretty simple to use. So if I use EB, Elastic Beanstalk come in play. There's a lot of other services also very much useful for the developer, code build and code deploy and other things. So in my developer track, we will talk about these services. Okay, so let's talk about Elastic Beanstalk. So this service has been created. Okay, and you say is end-to-end web application management. I don't agree with this term actually. End-to-end has a lots of things to do actually. Okay, so very limited tools in the market that has this support, but they are claiming there's a different point. But purely, these guys are platform as a service, and they are giving you a service for Java, PHP, Node, Python, Go, Ruby, and Docker. Docker means Docker obviously is not language, but they say if you think if you think when I create your complete infrastructure and you don't want to launch your web server in the EC2 instance, okay, so we have some internal service. I can put your website inside one OS, and that OS would be the container. So I can put your data or run your code inside a container. Container means here you can think about Docker. So that's what guys they're talking about. And because this is a web server, because this is a web app, right? So for web app, these are the servers, proper server Apache, Nginx, IIS, Passenger. These guys support. Okay. One more interesting thing is this service is guys absolutely free. You don't have to charge for this service, but they will pay you for the resources used by AWS, because technically this is as a management service. If you click here, they will launch a load balance and EC2 instance and databases for you. So technically, they say I am free, but if you use load balancer or hard disk or network, so how much you use, I will pay. I will charge you. So I will charge you that much. Okay. So that's how guys they charge. That is the reason, guys. This I can say Elastic Beanstalk is a one kind of management service for the infrastructure, so that they can create a platform and we can directly put the code and run the code there. Okay. And normally, guys, in this kind of environment, especially in the platform as service, okay, it is pretty common to talk about environment. So if you guys see here, there's one more term also called environment. So do you want to create an environment? Okay. And do you want to create an application? By the guys, in both the places, the same screen come up. Okay, because you have to first launch an app, and while launching the app, you will decide which environment you would like to launch. The environment is just a name. You can give any XYZ name also, but dev, test, and production is a very commonly used name in this world. Okay, so let me go and launch the app. Okay, so 1 minute. I also create one document, guys, for you. So technically, there's nothing special in this service in the terms of use, because all the technical thing about this service is been taken care by AWS guys. Okay, so I can say in this world, in this way, AWS has taken the entire responsibility. Okay, so launching of load balancer, EC2 instances, firewalls, hard disk, right, is the entire responsibility is taken care by the cloud guys. Maybe you're using public cloud or private cloud for open, like for example, OpenShift or maybe Cloud Foundry. So these guys has taken the entire responsibility. Okay, our responsibility is as such nothing. Only responsibility we have is obviously your code should be accurate. So if there's some bug in the code, security bug in the code, because the code say website hack or because the code website crash, so this responsibility, guys, is our responsibility. Otherwise, apart from this, anything goes down, anything fail, AWS will take the entire responsibility of that particular component. Okay, that's a good thing. Okay, that's a good thing. Or even though I already explained you, if you know AWS, if you don't know AWS, just one click, everything is being launched for you. that's the everything. So simply you have to upload the code, and Elastic Beans automatically handle the deployment, load balancer, auto scaling. Everything is being done by AWS. Even though, guys, one more important thing. So, for example, they might use Linux OS behind the scene. They might use Apache behind the scene. They might use PHP 2.1 version behind the scene. But guys, if you look at OS perspective, web server perspective, interpreter perspective, they also keep on coming with new updates, security updates, and bugs. So those changes or those patches is also done by AWS guys. You don't have to worry about much about any updates. All the updates and security updates is being it's been fully managed by AWS, and the most important thing is ongoing. Okay, as such, they won't make your site down. So on the ongoing, they will completely update those things for us. Otherwise, launching this service is is so simple, nothing very special we have. Okay, so just go and create on click create. So guys, so here they're asking you, do you want to create a web app? Again, here you can give the app name. Okay, but let me again go here. One minute. Right, 1 minute. So yeah, so if you go here, just they're asking you to create a web app. Let's say this is my test app. So one test app, guys, we are creating here. You want to give some tag name. You can know giving the tag is always good. Okay, so let's say is a reserve tag, some other tag, maybe tag maybe you can say my tag is environment equals to let's say developer. Okay, and this tag is maybe somewhere useful in searching or some other perspective also, but it's good practice because you are launching the app for what? Let's say you are developer, you've done your code, you test your code, everything working good or not. So you are guys uploading the app in the AWS Elastic Beans of, let's say, version 1. Okay, so there's a good practice. You can tag that I am from the environment dev. You can just give any name. It's just a random name I'm giving here. Or maybe you say my department is maybe from developer one department, or let's say my country is, my team is my team name is this one. So you can give multiple tags, sometime very much useful in dynamic environment. Okay, so even though it's not compulsory also to put the tag. Okay, but here this is important point, right? Important point is platform. Okay, this is the platform as a service. So they're asking, I will completely automate your infrastructure, but can you please confirm me which platform you want to create? So do you want to create a platform Go language, Java, Node, PHP, Python? And these are guys mainly used language. So which platform you would like to do? So let's say you want to run the HTML code or PHP code, because PHP is a language where HTML code also work by default in the same way. So let's say they say I want to use PHP as a language. Okay, so it means you're asking these guys to install the PHP interpreter for you. Okay, now here they're giving you option. Okay, we support PHP only on Amazon Linux. Okay, and these are the different versions we have for the PHP, which version you are looking for. Okay, and this is a by default whatever version they have for platform they are using. Okay, or maybe if you want to go for Java, you have some Java application, right? So these are the Java 7, Java 8, Java, some other versions they have supported. So depend, guys. Let's say we are going for PHP or Node. Okay, so that's what, guys, I'm selecting. So that's the only thing you have to do. One more last step here. Let me post. One minute. The steps here, and now, guys, here they're asking you if you just want to test Elastic Beanstalk. So we have some sample code. Just click, and I will deploy some sample code for you. Just go and test Elastic Beans here. But we know it's tested is a great service. Obviously, why we're using it, so that I can upload my code. Okay, so you can upload, guys, your code from your local system. So either you can upload the code from local system, or maybe you can give the URL of the S3. So if your code might be there in the S3, right? So you can give the URL of the S3 bucket, and they will automatically get the code from there. So what are, guys, you comfortable with you that can you do? Let's say I would like to upload my code from my local system. Okay, but guys, it's good practice. This is good practice because you have given your application or Elastic Beanstalk a name, my test app. So they automatically, guys, give use a version called my test app source. So the guys, this is the version I'm talking about, and this version is very important because there's one very interesting, powerful thing in the Beanstalk is called deployment strategy. So they have some strategy, very much useful. I will talk about that strategy of deployment. This called blue-green deployment or canary or rolling updates. So they have a very powerful support. Okay, or I can say they have a support for versioning control of the app. So what I mean by this, I will explain in very detail. So it's always good practice, guys. Uh, Whenever you upload your code, let's say this is the first time you are uploading code, and this is the newest version of your application you have, and you thought you have to give a version called version 1. So that's what you can write here and say, this is the code I'm launching for a version. So you can give any name, but this is very normally used syntax we use. So just give a version, a label. That's what I am giving. But this label is very much important. I'll show you guys this one option called switch the environment. So you think is working great in pre-prod, and you want now your real person guys will get a newer updated code. So just we switch the environment, pre-prod become production. So they have a great strategy over here. So I will guys talk about this point. So just keep this thing in mind, because right now we are uploading the first code. So give a version 1. Then my developer writes some more add changes they do. And again, we upload the code. We will give the version 2. You can give anything. V1, V1.0, whatever name you want to do here, but just try to give a unique name in the version. So it's a very important thing, guys. Give the source code version. Okay, and now I'm uploading my code for my local file. Okay, so nothing special. I'm just creating one small PHP code. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I'll just go to my maybe desktop or AWS. Okay. Let me create a one folder here. AWS is my workspace in my local computer. Okay, nothing special, but I just wanted to create a separate folder, and because maybe in my upcoming class I'm going to write multiple code, so I'll try to put all the code in this particular workspace or this particular folder. And I'm getting guys over here one page called index.php. Like you guys know, index.html or index.php is your home page. So my developer has just created this code, and maybe in this code they write some language. For example, this is syntax they write for PHP, or maybe they write print and they say app from AWS Beanstalk. So this one small code we written, and let's say this code is written by developer, and this code right now reside in my local computer. Okay, let me share this code. Pretty simple, right? But just for testing, if you want to do the same test, you can also type this code. Okay, and now my developer go here and they upload the application. They give some application a name and they upload the code here. Okay, so in my desktop, here was CSA, and there's a code we are uploading. Okay, but one small thing is there's a small issue in your Notepad here. If you're using Notepad by chance, your file stored in a different format, they automatically add the .txt. Okay, or maybe my web server might not work in this extension. So what I'm doing, nothing special here. I'm again saving this file in the same location, but this time I'm putting this file in the double quote, so the guys don't put any unwanted text extension here. Okay, very quickly, if you're using the Notepad, then this is the small issue come up. And let me again upload my code. This is the right file come up. That's all. File uploaded. Okay, and obviously, guys, your file is not a single file. If you talk about website, your file has multiple files, multiple pages, folder, document, images, videos, other data. So they have an option, guys. You can put the entire folder where you keep your file, entire this folder and all the file in one box. And this box is called a zip file. So just get zip. So a lot of zip program available. I don't think so in Linux we have a command. But if you go to Linux, zip command, or there's a lot of zip tool, or zip rar might have support for zip, but there are a lot of zip table available. Just create a zip like a compressed file, one box, and upload here. Okay, so that's what you can do here. Okay, so by the time one single file, so upload it here. So if you see, guys, just nothing special. One click, entire environment has been set. But everything is taken care by AWS. But they say if you want to customize those things, okay, if you want to customize the environment what we are going to launch for you, okay, then there's an option called configure more option. Even though you don't have to go there, everything has been taken care by us. We have all the better use cases we see in the market, and this is the best environment for PHP we are going to create. But we have a different requirement. Okay, right now here I'm not launching load balancer for you, but maybe you are testing guys, you want to put these guys behind the load balancer. Here I'm not launching any database for you, or not connecting any database for you, but your application might require database. You guys might want to use RDS services. Okay, and some more thing you wanted to do here. So in the configure more option, those facility we will provide to you. Okay, so configure more option means like a go to some advanced setting, and here guys, lots of advanced thing they provide you. Okay, and by some guys here, they launch single instance for you as a free tier, because I have a free account here. So by chance, if I use Elastic Beanstalk here, whatever resources they launch behind the scene, it's just for testing. It is again free for us. Okay, but you think you don't require a single instance. You want to go for high availability. Okay, you can change here. I'll show you in a minute. Okay, but here they give you more option. If you want to change your platform, by chance they're using Amazon Linux and 7.4 version of PHP, but you want to change, just click here. Now you can just go and change other version, same option, whatever I show you. It will come up. Okay, or or if you if you go to instances. Okay, so behind this guys, they launch one EC2 instance for you. Just click here. Click here. You can change about the EC2 instance. You want to change your root volume, you want to go for any other different hard disk. Okay, or you want to use some other security group. Okay, because by chance web server application always run on port number 80, but maybe application has some extra port running. It's been server-side programming you have done, so you guys might create some security rule that can be customized for your application. Okay, or maybe if you don't want to use for example, if you see here, let me cancel this page. If you guys notice here, by chance here they have given you only one option that you can only use Amazon Linux, and these are the only PHP version they have. And for example, I said it's a PHP 7.4. You know what behind this in they're done? They already has created one AMI for us for Amazon Linux too, and that AMI they already configure Apache server and put 7.2 version there. So these AMI they already created for us. Or maybe you guys don't want to use Amazon, you want to use Red Hat Linux, and on the Red Hat Linux you want to use 5.6. So you have some different customized requirement in the application you have. so rather than we can change from here, but we can do one thing, right? We can just go and edit. And in this edit, we can change our AMI IDs. Okay, you guys know what AMI ID is. So maybe you have your own custom AMI created or created by your team. Whatever AMIs they have, if the AMI is public and can be used in your account, you can put the AMI ID. So what are always behind the scene of AMI or PSU version, your application will be deployed there. Okay, or maybe you want to change the instance type. Everything is being changed. You want to use single instance. You want to use load balancers. Okay, now you understand one thing. As soon as you select load balancer, okay, automatic auto scaling group name come in play. Okay, and guys, if you remember auto scaling group, I told you in the auto scaling group we always set the desired capacity. I want 2 instances to be launched. Okay, and max is let's say 5. Okay, so by default there's no option here desired. If you guys remember, there's 3 options. So as soon as you launch, 2 instances launch for you. Load increase, they'll go to 5 maximum. Load decrease, they will again minimize to 2. So on the fly they will do for you because of auto scaling group concept. We have already discussed, guys, this topic in very detail. Okay, and obviously, guys, if you go for auto scaling, you have to tell the scaling triggers. So when you want to increase the load or decrease the load, okay, because of network, because of CPU utilization, because of hard disk, so there are multiple different metrics they provide you. So I can say, let's say CPU. So if I say if my CPU average bytes, average go minimum 5, this much threshold. So if this number go above this one or less this one, accordingly, uh, uh, you know, a scaling group trigger, and that scaling will launch one more instance for you. Okay, so those things, guys, I already explained. So this is not again auto scaling class, but you don't have to go to auto scaling. But when you create this application, and then if you go to auto scaling page, you will see automatic they will create for you. Automatic, guys, they automatically create a auto scaling for you. You don't have to create. So right now, if you see, guys, here, there's no auto scaling group we have. Okay, there is no auto scaling group we have. Okay, so without coming to this page, behind the scene, guys, Elastic Beanstalk will create for us. Okay, so otherwise there's a lot of other options. For example, any, because of auto scaling, they will launch 2 instances, and they can put these instances in any of the AZs. But you can decide. Uh, there might be possibility. Let's say I want 2 instances always. So there might be possibility they might launch these 2 instances in only in one AZ. Let's say 1A. Both the instance they launch there. Okay. But why we launch multiple? Because one of my AZ goes down, I want second AZ will have other instances running. So here you can decide and say if I want any two to use. So if I launch 2 instances, so one instance will go in 1A, one instance will go in 1B. So this kind of plan you can also do that. And which AZ you want to use, this one, this one. Why I'm saying have a lot of, because in the Virginia we have most, I think 6 data centers here. Or you can change the instance type also. Okay. So any other customization you want to do, you can do from here. So let's say I'm going for T2 macro. Again, the same AMI I'm using here. 2AZ I want to use 1B and 1E. Okay, and because of, let's say, network, in let's say go for CPU, right? If I continue for 5 minutes, this my number of bytes, average byte in the CPU process, actually I can say, go above this, or maybe network example if you see here. So for 5 minutes, this much byte transfer, right? My auto scaling group will launch. Okay, so this one you can configure here. Now, some more thing here. The instance you can change. This is, guys, something about logs and other services. So when I go for Cloud Watch, high level I've discussed already, but when I go for a little bit more advanced Cloud Watch, I will explain you what is X-ray and other service. So if you guys see load balancer, last time, guys, before we have enabled this option was disabled. But as soon as you enable this capacity, because of auto scaling group, we need a load balancer, right? So automatic load balancer has been configured for us. Okay, and configure for it. And even though if you go edit, okay, they automatically create this load balancer for us. And they choose the best load balancer for us, ALB. If you go some month back, they were using by default classic here in Elastic Beanstalk, but now they have been modified. Nowadays they are using auto load balancer, so ALB. But if you want to, they will configure by default 80 port, another 80 port, and health check and slash, right? So the general thing that is available they configure for us, but they didn't create any rules or any kind of listener. Or you can create your own personal listener if you want, or own personal rules if you want. So what are rules, what are listener, we have already talked guys in very detail in our load balancer classes, but they will create some core thing. Any other things if you have, you can put there. You can change here. Okay, so this is the, what is rolling updates and deployment. We will talk with very interesting concept, very simple but very interesting, and that's what I'm talking about. What is it? So guys, by chance anybody who are there with me in my Kubernetes classes, in the Kubernetes there's a resource called deployment. So there we have discussed about rolling update and update strategy. That's the same concept they apply here. Because whenever if we talk about application deployment, we have to we need some facility who will manage the versions of my code. I can roll out, roll back, all the things. So they have the support. I will discuss, guys. So right now I'm just skipping this part, but I will discuss. Okay, about security. If you see here, okay, so technically I told you guys behind the scene Elastic Beanstalk gonna launch an instance for you. Okay, but now this instance is behind my auto scaling group. So auto scaling group will launch this instance for you. Okay, by so you guys know what is auto scaling group, but anybody who know Kubernetes, so you can compare auto scaling group with a concept called replica set or replication control. So same concept auto scaling group provide to you. Okay, you can think it this way. Or by chance, those who know Kubernetes, okay, so in the Kubernetes there is a control called deployment. Okay, and here in the AWS cloud, this you can compare the deployment with Elastic Beanstalk. Okay, so this is also one who will deploy the thing. This is also one who deploy a code. This is the one who will manage the deployment strategy like blue green or rolling update. This is the one here who managing this. So if you try to compare with Kubernetes, by chance if you know, right, I think not all guys know about this, so you can compare these two components of Kubernetes with the services of AWS. Okay. Okay, and by chance you know one more thing, we have a load balancer service here. It's called ELB. In the Kubernetes it's called service, as we say, the same thing. So product is there different, but obviously the old concept is almost the same. Okay, so because technically in Elastic Beanstalk we are going to launch EC2 instance. Okay, and this launch is done by AWS, but they say because this is the OS, maybe in the future you might have to log into this OS. And for login you require private key. Okay, so that's what we are asking here. Okay, so do you want to add a private key? So in my Virginia region I already had this key. Otherwise you can also go and create the key there and update. Okay, so this private key we launch. Okay, and one more interesting thing is, right, this instance is going to attach with one IAM role. Okay, this role. So this role has been already created for you. This role, guys, I haven't created, but if you go here in IAM, what is the role, guys? We have already discussed in very detail. But if you go to IAM service, so guys, when you first time click on your, where is security? So when you first time, guys, click on Elastic Beanstalk on the application, behind the scene, they will go to IAM and create one role there. So we go here. You can see, guys, there is one role they created. And you see, guys, today only they created. Okay, this role they created for you. And if you read this role, because we guys know how to create the role, so at least we know how to read this at high level. Okay, so this is what this role say. This role say anybody who use this role, and I told you guys in the AWS, if you anybody want to use the service, there's two guys. Either we as a human being can use service, and for human being we have to create a user, and for user we have to provide some power. This is called permission. Okay, but if one service want to use other service, Okay, so the service who want to use the service, the first one who want to use that other one, we have to provide a role. Without having the role, they won't able to go to that service. So technically, this is just a role name. You can give anything. So anybody who has this role, they have some power. They have some permission. Okay, and what permissions they have? They have these permissions. Okay, so maybe by looking at the permission, you might not be able to see much, but if you see the detail of the permission, how obviously by policy summary or by looking at the JSON file, you come to know. So it is very clear now. If you guys, it is again quick revision of my last class. Anybody, just a name, you can give any other name also. By chance, they pick this name for you automatically. But any service, let me write here. Any one of the service or AWS service one want to use other service. Okay. So in this service, what the service one can do. So what service one can do with service two is all depend upon what power, what permission, what policy we have given to this guy. And how we give this power and permission to the guy? By attaching the role. So let's say this service is Elastic Beanstalk. And this service want to use a service called S3 for some reason. So these are two different services, maybe belongs to AWS, but different service. But this service don't have power to do anything else. But I want my ABS will go to S3, create a bucket, upload objects, read some data, right? That's my power I have to give. So providing this power to EB to S3, we have to attach the role, right? So that's what guys happen here. So this is a rule we have created. This rule we have attached here, where in my Elastic Beanstalk. We attached here. Okay, and what is power we have given in this rule? These three powers: this power, this power, this power. And by looking at the power, you guys might not be able to see what is actually there. But if you read this power, it is now very clear. Because you guys know from last class, everything is denied, but this is a allow power. Or we are allowing three things in S3. One is get, list, and put. So this application can go to S3. They can list all the objects. They can upload some file in the S3. Okay, but where, right? In S3 there is a lot of bucket. So they have only can upload in the bucket called Elastic Beanstalk. So in S3 there might be lots of bucket, but here I am giving a power to upload only in a bucket called Beanstalk. Okay, so if you see guys here, this bucket was not there. So whenever guys you click on the application in the Beanstalk, initially today, right now, automatic this bucket is being created. Even though guys here, this is the current date and time according to their timestamp coming 6th Feb. Okay, so this bucket has been created. And why Beanstalk created this bucket? Because they use this bucket for multiple things. Multiple things. First thing they do, whenever you guys upload your code in application for local laptop, the way I uploaded here, behind the scene, Beanstalk upload this code in the S3 bucket. Now, if you see guys here, when I upload the code right now, it is been uploaded here. See here, these two file uploaded PHP this one. Okay, it's upload here. Even though if you just click, same kind of code come up. If you read, you will see same kind of code come up. By chance, exit deny because I don't have permission, but my service has a permission because I haven't given the permission to this user. Maybe I have to see somewhere. Okay, something like this. Similarly, okay, they have given power to some ECS services. So the ECS service we haven't discussed yet. It is a Docker services. So maybe they use a Docker for something. Maybe they launch instances inside the Docker because they give some power to Docker. Okay. Similarly, if I go in anything, so technically, guys, is a quick summary of my last class. But if you guys remember in my last class, we had to write this rule, but here everything is automated. You don't have to create the rule, and automatic the power we have to provide to service one to service two, they created for us. Because if you guys remember, there are a lot of service, every service, a lot of keywords, right? Which power you want to give. So everything has been automated by these guys. You don't have to worry about. So 99.9% in AWS world, you will never require to create a roles. Everything is being created and automatic is being attached. But we should know, so that sometime we want to customize. So we should know how to customize. Okay, this is called instance role we've given. What is service role, guys? We haven't discussed yet in our IAM topic, but when I discuss this concept in my IAM topic, I will come back. I will explain what is the meaning of service role. But this part I haven't discussed. But they created something also for you. That's a different point. Okay, so attach this key because maybe my plan is to log into my instance. Maybe I require. So at least I should have this capability. Okay, and if you see, guys, a lot of things I have changed here. So they automatically select, guys, custom configuration because we're customizing the thing for us. Or maybe if you want to go for pre-created setup, for example, high availability, so they have pre-planned setup or pre-planned template, so they will set up for you. But here I'm customizing my entire environment. Okay, so security you have. Similarly, if you want to set up monitoring, updates, notification, databases, for example, if you go to databases, you can select here. See RDS service. You don't have to go to RDS. Select which database to use, versions, click, one click, and behind the scene, they launch the database for you. But after obviously they launch, you can go to RDS and see there your database has been launched. So by one single screen, one single grid, everything can be customized. Even though they say whatever we're providing you, just click on high availability, everything is set up for you. You don't have to worry about load balancer and other thing. But if you want to change something, you can do it. There's some kind of environment is not a part of VPC, so you can click here. You can attach which VPC you want to do. If you want to provide a public IP also to instances, okay. So some other setting you can do. So you can select your VPC, which VPC you want to do, and VPC you guys know visibility because there's a load balancer setting. So I want my load balancer have public connectivity, which availability they launch. Okay, if you want to also for public IP to issue instances, which subnet you want to launch. Okay, obviously, guys, you put the subnet where your auto scaling group also managing, right? So these are the settings, guys. We have configured every bit of it in my last classes. But it's a summary of all the component, whatever we discussed till date. Okay, I'm not configuring database, guys, because you know all this. This is the SNS. We will discuss in my upcoming class. What is SNS? It will send the mail or notification for us. Okay, so guys, this is the entire customization we have done. If you want to do it, otherwise click. Or when you click, you'll see behind this, and they will create lots of things for you. So if I very quickly go to my EC2 services, so what you will see here, I have 3 instances running. Okay, only 3 running. Maybe from other thing. Okay, when I click, now guys, they are creating the environment. They're creating the environment for us. Okay, and if you guys here, the word also they use creating environment. It takes some minute, obviously, because it's not a small thing. They are configuring tons of things for you. Tons of things for you. And because this is the first time we are uploading our code, so if you see here, if you guys also see, they are uploading something S3 bucket. Okay, they also creating a target group, security group. You guys know target group we use in load balancer. So this is the live log. You can see auto scaling group they are setting up. So if you see here, last time I don't have auto scaling group. But now on the fly, there's auto scaling group automated, and because we asked two instances dedicated as my desire, so they launch 2. Okay, and if you see in the instance management, okay, instance management, this 2 instance has been pending. They're connected, they're pending because they are launching in the EC2. So if you go to EC2 dashboard, so last time, guys, I had 3 running. Still, we have 3 running. Okay, but if you see here, 2 more instances in the pending. See here, they gave the instances with the same name, the name that you give here, same name here. Okay, so they are pending. They're running, and as soon as the guys run, they connect this instance behind your auto scaling group. So everything we have done already, but that was pure manual way. Here everything is being done, is pending because they may be checking your health check. And I think I also launched my load balancer here. Load balancer here, and if you see, guys, the one load balancer automatically created for you and is provisioning for that much average on whatever I selected there, or application load balancer they'll launch for you. Okay, and by default they have a listener. So whatever listen, there's a interfacing. That's what I told this guy, and this is the IP of my load balancer. You guys know we can change with the DNS 53. Okay, and some more thing, whatever you want to see there. Okay, and if you notice one more small thing, if you talk about this instance they launch, they also put a public IP, even though we don't require public IP because behind the public load balancer, but because I asked that I need public IP, so they launch and they attach with some private key. Okay, so you can go and check. Same private key has been attached. Okay, so everything, guys, is created here, and if you even though you can say live feed here what they are doing. So if we click on the application here, okay, so on this application, guys, they created. And guys, automatically, guys, they behind the scene they create an environment for you with the name my test app hyphen environment. Okay, they create one environment and some unique name AI, and you guys know has been created. And if you click on the environment now this time, you will see this environment is pending. Why is pending? Because my behind the scene instances is going on. But in this environment, one app we launch. Obviously, this is for web app, so they give us one URL. So this is one URL they give to us. Okay, this is one URL. Okay, and obviously this URL is not doesn't looks good. Okay, but we know how to change this big name. Okay, so I go to my root 53. I can give the C name or alias name to give a shorter name to this guy that you guys know we discussed already in detail. Okay, it's a bad gateway. You guys know when this error come up because, guys, Elastic Beans give this URL. This URL is actually internally the URL of the load balancer. Okay, so might not be the same. So if you go to load balancer, this one. Okay. So if you see this name is a little bit different. Okay, of this one because this has been launched by ELB service. This is launched by Elastic Beanstalk. So they have their own personal DNS for this domain. Okay, well, internally everything is being, guys, managed by DNS. So this guy has one alias of this guy. So finally, you have landed to your load balancer. And guys, when this error come up, normally this error means your load balancer is not yet been connected to backend servers. Because maybe backend server is running or launching, or maybe they are doing health checks. So depending, guys, what's the health check time I put, I don't know. We can change there. It might take some time after health check's done. You guys know all the things. This will come up. But if you see, guys, everything has been completely done by this application. And this is the home page of this environment. Okay, so every environment has come with their home page. This is a URL they give you. One click, you will land it to this app. Right now, my instance is not might not launch. If you click, you will get your page. Okay, still they're pending. Why? Because I told you health check is not yet done. Okay, And after this, then we can upload and deploy, manage that deployment strategy, rebuild the environment, clone the environment, swap the URL. This is a very interesting concept. So everything can be done for the environment. So per environment, which you guys here in the left side, because I have only one environment, and let's say this is the dev environment. Same way I can get QA environment and production environment. Obviously not from my account. Other account might have this different accounts or different environments. Okay, but in this environment, you can do lots of things also. Okay, maybe a new version of code come up, I upload with new code, and this time I can give the version 2. And as soon as guys, two versions come up, okay, then you can get lots of like extra facility of swapping the environment or rollout or rollbacks and other strategy also we can say. Okay, but here guys, they are still pending, and here there's a great event, recent event they show you. And this environment operation is complete, but with some error, there's some error come up and nothing is working. And one of the error might be because while setting up the load balancer, I have to set my health name, and health name I have to give my page name of my, when you do health check, you always give the page name. And you guys can go back and rectify those things and again reload or refresh or rebuild. Okay, it will be rectified. But technically, everything will work. But tomorrow, guys, I will pick the same topic again. I might use some CLI because CLI also come with a great functionality. And plus, I will show you further concept of swapping and rolling updates and rollouts and other concept of elastic base. So very important service. And tomorrow, guys, I will go these services. Okay. But intention here is and to show you platform service, one click and entire platform created. Initially, it was very great service for developers, but nowadays we use this kind of service everywhere in the personal environment also. Okay. So this one for today, guys. Again, tomorrow we'll see and connect at 6:30 only, and we'll complete this thing. Just go and check where we miss the, I think the health check part. Just give the proper name. I also fix this, and tomorrow, guys, we'll go other tabs and some more actual feature of the Beanstalk. I can say. Okay. So that's all, guys. Any questions? Any query if you have?